Hello everybody, I wanted to introduce you to our ultrafine fundamentals. These are just so good to work with because they give us a more luxurious look to our designing. So first of all, we've got them in lots of different sizes. Let me take you through them, and I'm going to do that so you can see them overhead. So first of all, we've got our circles, and there are 28 dies in this collection. Then we have got our ovals, and there are 24 in that selection. We've got 30 in our square. We have got our DL, which has 22, and then we also have our regular rectangles, and there are 26 in these. Now you'll notice, oh, and don't forget the ovals, there are 24 in that collection. Now when I take two of them and put them side by side, so these are our regular fundamentals, and these are the ultrafine matting and layering ones. What you've got is a difference between the distance between each of the cuts. So on the ultrafine one, this has been reduced to just under 2 millimeters. On the large one, it's actually 3 millimeters. And I'm going to draw it on a piece of paper and explain to you the technology that makes this so unusual. So first of all, with each die, and if I take one of the dies here, I can immediately tell whether it's an ultrafine or it's a regular die. So I'm going to take one of each. So I've got, this is an ultrafine, this is one of my regular fundamentals. And what we did when we did the die cuts to get them so that you got such good value for money, and we brought this in, a regular piece of metal. So the back of this flat piece of metal that holds the blade of the die in place. And the blade is the raised area. So let's imagine we're looking at that through a cross section. So this is the flat area of the die. So this is the back, and we've just cut through it so that you can see all the way through. A normal die would have the blade right in the center of that flat area. And this has been magnified literally hundreds of times. To be able to get our fundamentals as close as they are, so you're getting them really super close, what we did was we took that flat piece of metal and we put the die here, the cut line here. And then we took the next piece of metal and we put the cut line there. And by shortening this piece of metal, we were able to get our cut lines closer together. So if I drew a second one here and put the cut line in the middle, so this is traditional die cutting. The distance between those two cuts is there. So you can see it's quite a distance, although it is magnified enormously. Whereas by moving our cut line to the outside edge, we saved ourselves the width of half of that metal. So we reduced the distance to that. Now the challenge became, what can we do to make this even shorter? Because we want those die cuts to look elegant, to look detailed, to look designer. So it meant moving that cut line once more. And this is where we were challenged by the factory, because of course it was going to be a difficult thing to do. It was going to need practice and also maybe some trials. And so the factory's first reaction was, it's not possible. But never being one to give up, we kept going until we were able to achieve this. So what we did was we bought the first flat piece of metal and we moved the cut line from the inside middle to the outside edge, just there. And then we took the next piece of metal and we put that cut line there. So suddenly we'd reduce the distance between mats and layers to a very small amount. So it meant things like this. Look at how you can get the distance between your mats and layers to become minuscule. And I'm just going to bring this over a piece of black cardstock and let you see. They are tiny mats and layers. And let's bring in another set for you and let you see again what we've done here. So I'm just going to join them up together and then pull one into the center. And again, those mats and layers are incredibly small, detailed, delicate, and giving you that really luxurious finish. If your dies do not already do this, and you've got more than a couple of millimeters between each of those mats and layers, then that's the reason why you need this collection of fundamentals. But what it also then did was it allowed us to not only do lots of mats and layers like this, but change the way we look at our apertures as well. So I'm going to show you what happens there. So I'm just going to take these two circles and use my die cutting machine to actually add in some detail. So I'm going to take my mats and layers, open up a new collection, and you'll see just how close these dies are. So first of all, when you work with them, I'd suggest that you keep them on magnetic sheets. It's a great place to have them. Then I'm going to take them as a pair, so I need to pick them off the plate in pairs. So there's my first set, second, third, fourth, etc. And I'm going to take those two and work with them. So let's see which ones we're going to go with. We'll have these two. So that one and that one. And you can see when I put them down together, they're almost touching each other. That's how fine that detail and decoration is. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take the larger of the two, and I'm just going to place that on the outside of this piece of card and just hold that in place with a small amount of tape. That then is going to go through my die cutting machine. So we'll take my cutting plate and place that over the top. Just checking that I'm happy with the position, which I am. And then I'm going to take my magnetic shim and place that over the top of that. That then gets run through my ProCut machine. And it really doesn't take more than a moment or two to cut that out. Of course, you can be working with Cut Tidy if you choose, or even a regular shim, but for the purpose of this, I'm quite confident that that will have cut well. So here we go. There's my cut, and there's the panel that I'm left with. Right, so the next one that I'm going to cut, I lay that on top of the design so you can see how ultra fine those mats and layers are. The next one that I'm going to use is this one. So I need to lay these on top of each other, make sure that I'm happy with the positioning, and then this one is going to sit inside like that. And then I'm going to take again my piece of tape, and I'm just going to hold that one in position, just tucking it the other side of the panel before I lift off this aperture. And I've already got that face down on the piece that I've got. I'm just going to make sure that that's lined up now in the center of this design. So let's just check it, get that in the center. Just going to pull that over a tiny little bit to that way. Make sure I've got that where it's needed. Take the piece of black card off, although you can leave that on because it isn't going to be affected. So rather than take that off, let's leave that one on. And I'm going to place this over the top and run that through my die cutting machine. And you will now see just how fine this cut is, because as you look through it, the mats and layers will start to come to life. So when we're doing really beautiful design work, these are the effects that we would want to be able to get. So as I just lift this off, I'm going to take that panel, place this one over the top, and let's get that so that it's lined up properly. It goes that way. And we're just going to line this up so that you can see how delicate that is. And if I bring in this one so that you can see again how delicate, it takes a moment to get the lining up because it is such a finite amount of matting and layering. Just going to slide this one round just a tiny bit, and I have got a little tip for you on how to make sure that you always get these level, and that's just by putting a tiny mark on them. I'm just going to move that over very, very slightly there, and that one there. And then look at how intricate this cutting is. It really is detailed, fine and delicate. And there you've got your mats and layers. This could almost be a china plate with the centre of the design actually for where the saucer or the cup would sit, and then these are the outside layers of that beautiful effect. But that's what you get with ultrafine cutting, matting and layering, this beautiful detailed and delicate design. And if we wanted to then go on to use these to make all of the different card shapes, absolutely, that's something you could do. And I would just urge you to check out Highlight Crafts, where we're going to have downloads of different card shapes that are available for you to make using this ultrafine collection. Thank you very much for watching this little quick tip on how you can do all the different designs and the reason why those ultrafine dies are so important. Don't forget, we've taken the cutting edges from this far apart with our regular dies to this far, but right down to this with those ultrafine ones. So this is where you get that extra level of quality and also beautiful finish to your card making. Enjoy, everybody. I'll see you soon. Don't forget to visit us again at highlightcrafts.com.
If you want to see more from Highlight Crafts, make sure you subscribe by clicking the button below. Then click the bell icon to receive notifications for all our new content.